This is the Jesse Lee Peterson Network. My dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. My dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. My dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. My dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. That I learned. That's a Jewish song I learned during Christmas time from kindergarten. What's up, guys? It is Thursday, December 14th, 2023 AD, the year of our Lord, Jesus Christ, and it's 9:02 a.m. here in Los Angeles. And what will we cover today? Well, I will get to your calls if you'd like to call in. We'll have a fun, loosey-goosey Thursday show. But also, I would like to cover that Karen Keiser gal. You know, that Karen Keiser woman who was on the Fallen State with Jesse Lee Peterson? I've been talking about getting to her tweet during the Kate Cox pro-abortion messed up kid. You know, she has a daughter who's had a daughter in her stomach, in her belly, in her womb with trisomy 18. And she was quote tweeting the Center for Reproductive Rights, this Washington State Senator, Democrat, old school gal. Maybe the school shooting thing, maybe, I'm not sure. That fire extinguisher put out a menorah in Poland. Kind of an amusing story for me. I guess I disavow it. But, and Stop Thief! Been wanting to get to this for a few days here now. So, this person stopped a Jamaican thief, shoplifter, right on, like a white guy or a Jewish guy, a Jewish white guy. And of course, man, I never got to that transgender propaganda. Maybe that's a good thing. And of course, your super chats, guys. I have some super chats left over from when it was Dylan Burns on my show on Tuesday. So I got to get to those. I really want to get to those. Anyway, all that and your calls, guys. Like I said, if you'd like to call in. But anyway, everybody, let's get right on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I have my The Hake Report La 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 t-shirt on right now, and that is the desert pink. It's the manly color of pink. Desert pink. So you can get yours by going to thehakereport.com, checking the menu and finding the Teespring link in the menu, or teespring.com/stores/thehakereport, or thehakereport.creator-spring.com, which is the real web page for all my t-shirts, mugs, stickers, sweatshirts, sometimes tank tops, even ones that fit the gals. T-shirts that fit the gals. And shout out to the gals. We cherish women here on the Hake Report. Nice. So let me show you this woman tweet. Psh. Karen Keiser, this old timer, boomer, not that old, relatively old, older than me anyway. Washington State Senator. She had this oh, look at her. Doesn't that look like the Twitter profile of a boomer? Her portrait, standing in front of a J.C. Penney or mall background, just kind of a just a abstract background behind her. Karen Keiser, Keiser, number 1, with the digit 1, from the Seattle area in Washington State. Washington State Senate President pro tempore. Tempura? And she has like 2,500 followers. Not too shabby. 488 following. Followed by Katie Harms Triller, another former Fallen State guest. Katie Triller, the woman who said that she was getting physically abused by her ex-husband, and so she divorced and remarried another guy who's nice. But she already has children by the first husband, I think. But she's a Christian and Christian feminist gal. And Soledad O'Brien, who is former cable news person, I think. And so what did she tweet? She tweeted about this abortion thing going on. She tweeted about Kate Cox. And you know there's a term called everyman? Everyman just means the everyday man, the average man. Well, she says Kate Cox is every woman. Every woman. What? In anti-abortion states that refuse to admit they are cruel and hideous ideologues who don't see how blind they really are. Well, that's false, because Kate Cox is a woman living in Texas, I guess. Married mother of 2, living in Texas. Married mother of 3, but she has apparently, or allegedly, or maybe is about to, kill her 3rd child who is in her womb. Who knows if she's killed others. And most aborting mothers already have children. Did you know that? Most women who get abortions, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, I heard that most mothers who kill their babies already have babies. So you guys think, oh, that's a bad mother anyway. She should kill the baby because she would be a bad mother. Which is worse, being killed in the womb and not having life, or having a bad mother, which everybody does. Some worse than others, I guess. Nah, I guess. Anyway. Louis Farrakhan's mom allegedly told him that she wanted to, or tried to, abort him with a coat hanger. That's why they have the coat hanger and say, never again, these pro-abortion people. Every woman does not have a child with trisomy. That's only 1 in like 5,000, trisomy 18. 1 in 5,000 children get that rare thing. And I don't think trisomy 18 is necessarily justification for aborsh. Unless the child is already dead and then you just extract the baby, and that's not an abortion. And maybe he's going to be stillborn, or maybe she, probably a daughter. I think it's a daughter, according to my super chatter. So that's not every woman. She's in a rare situation. And that's what they do. They pick these rare situations to open it up so everybody can kill their babies. These dishonest people. And this woman is a Christian. Psh. And so so that's a lie. Every woman, you feminist. Anyway, she quote tweeted Center for Reproductive Rights. And go down to number 3, because then it has a picture of that Kate Cox woman, gal. 31-year-old married mother of 2. She and her husband, Justin, sounds like a beta, have sued and lost, I think, in the state of Texas. Center for Reproductive Rights tweeted last week, the 7th, this is the 14th now, while we're grateful for today's outcome in Cox versus Texas, and actually that was not the final outcome. The outcome was the appeals court, or the court said, oh, she can kill the baby in violation of the law, because the law says at 6 weeks, no more abortions, unless it's to save the life of the mother. And it's not to save the life of the mother. It's to save the convenience / appease the fears of the mother. Right? From somehow, I don't know. Cox versus Texas. Every day, people like Kate are suffering, says the Center for So-Called Reproductive Rights, which is a lie. It's not reproductive rights. There's no such thing as reproductive rights. Center for Violating the Rights of the fathers to their children, right? Because women can kill the baby and the father gets no say about it. So evil. Just because she has to suffer the consequences of laying down with the man and getting pregnant, she gets to go through the pregnancy process and have the baby. Gets to. It's good for you. It builds character. Potentially. Unless you're the type who doesn't build character. You just build bitterness. Get better, not bitter. Ladies. Shout out to the ladies. Suffering under dangerous abortion bans in 14 U.S. states. And I'm sure that there is some clunkiness to these things. I'm sure that there are stuff where your life gets a little bit more complicated, right? A little bit more complicated. But that's all you ever do, you females. All you ever do is complicate your lives. Kevin House is Republicans fighting women who don't want their kids as playing mama. You don't really care about that kid. You'll never meet. Stop virtue signaling. Interesting position, Kevin House. There may be some truth to that. Playing mama. But in a man's world, which we want to bring back a man's world, you don't just leave it to the woman to kill the child. But there is a mama spirit going on in the so-called pro-life movement. If you get all emotional about it, you're every bit as lame-o as the baby killer emotional people. It's just that you're right about that particular issue. But your spirit's evil. So fair. How about the fathers who want their children? These bans putting lives at risk and causing incredible anguish for pregnant people. That's speaking of mama words. It's called pregnant girls and women. Because girls can get pregnant from a pretty young age. Underage. What's the ideal time? Resident health expert. Am I live on Facebook? I would like to know what is the ideal time physically for a woman to get pregnant, or a young, or girl or woman. Physiologically speaking. I get that there's an argument about being mature mentally and spiritually or whatever that means, right? I get that there's the argument about being mature and being married and all those things. But physically speaking, when's the best time for the baby and for the woman's body, the baby's body and the woman's body, to be pregnant? The best. Because I want to know, I'm just curious, is it 18? Is it 21? Is it 25? Is it 13? Is it 16? I'm curious. I would like to know. John F. says, I know a girl who had her first kid at age 11. John Frederick says, different John, says 16 to 18. Nugget Man says 16 to 20, I believe. Flat Earth Victory says 16. Charlie Church says 21 to 27. Are you talking about physically, or are you talking about mentally, that stuff? 27, laughing face emoji with tears coming out. No. Strifecast says gross. Oh, which is in response to 5555565 on DLive saying Rith after she ovulates or something like that. I don't know. Aborsh is satanic child sacrifice on a grand scale, says John F. Yeah. Carver531 says, how about tonight? Oh, I disavow that. Oh, Charlie Church says 27 is the cutoff. Well, Charlie Church is talking in practical terms nowadays, 21 to 27. I understand that, but I'm talking about just physically, biologically. 18 to early 20s is just a care. Yeah. And this gal is 31. Lisa will say 90 if God's willing, says Frederick. Nice, because she's a Christian. Maybe she's a Christian. I'm not even sure. sort of a provocative conversation because we've said, no, boys and girls are considered boys and girls, little kids, until 18. And even past 18, they still call them kids. We've infantilized people so that they're immature later and later and later in life until life has passed them by and they're still immature. They still think of themselves as kids. Charlie Church reiterates, yes, physically, biologically, 21 to 27. Maybe so. How old was Sarah? How old was the Virgin Mary? Kevin Howe says 16 biologically. Sounds perverted saying it, though. Yeah, I know. There's people's mindsets. Think about it. The perverted culture is deeming what's perverted, because Kevin Howe and the rest of us who think, oh, this talk about younger than 18 feels perverted. But the culture is perverted, I'm not justifying one with the other. I'm just saying the perverted culture is no authority on what actually is really, truly perverted. Wasn't Mary a kid? I don't know. I heard Mary might have been 13, 16, something like that. Life expectancy is much higher, but that doesn't change the ideal childbearing years. Does it? Maybe. So, enough of that. Let's move on. It's kind of an uncomfortable topic. But thank you, Karen Keiser, for the content, sort of. Evil Center for Reproductive Rights. Where's the rights for the men and the children and the mothers? The rights only cause them more, all of this, the rights only cause them more anxiety. They don't know what to do. They don't make good decisions. Don't give them the decision. Then it's not a difficult decision because it's no decision at all. It's no choice at all, right? Based on the facts, women are advised to have all their kids before age 35. This is Jib Jab. Spoiler alert says not getting married and having children when you're young is perverted. Yeah, I know. They've really messed with people's minds. They being the world, the people of the world, people of Satan. Misty had her first at 20. Nice. All right. Let's get to some calls. And then I have some clips to play for you guys. And super chats. Remiss in not reading the Dylan Burns related super chats. Mark in Los Angeles, California is on the line. Mark, thank you for calling. What is up?
Yes, thanks for taking my call. I wanted to speak about the the mayor of Boston, this Asian woman. I think her last name is Wu.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some tweets about this Asian mayor of Boston who's married to a purportedly white person, but she went to do like an only POC, no white people Christmas party or something like that?
Correct. And she tried to keep it secret, but it got out, and she was exposed. I don't know. She may have come out with a fake apology, but
right.
The bottom line is you could see with these Democrats of any color, particularly non-white, that they will discriminate against whites when given the power.
She's married to one Connor Pewarski, married in 2012. She's 38 years old.
Yeah, I don't know too much about who she is. There was a woman with that last name that had something to do with the school district in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
He tried to, I don't know if that's her, but
right.
A woman with that last name did the same, and she married a black basketball player. But that may not be the same person.
That doesn't sound like a black. He's a white male, Pewarski, Pewarski, and she, for some reason, did not take his last name, at least not officially. Interesting. Michelle Wu.
You're right. She's pure evil. So that's that. I mean, we could see the future with the Democrat government not Democratic, but Democrat with a small d, government when they take over. The other thing I wanted to mention quickly, you may or may not have heard about it, that they were supposed to ban menthol cigarettes because they're more deadly than regular cigarettes. I don't smoke, but
I think it's only more deadly, only potentially more deadly because people smoke more of it, not realizing how much of the poison they're taking in because it goes down easier. It feels cooler on the throat.
Right, and apparently, and I didn't know this, Negroes smoke menthols more than anybody else.
Yeah, and gays and women.
And yes, and Sharpton, the tax evader criminal and white hater, he actually went to Biden and told Biden, don't do this, and Biden listened.
Yep.
So they are not going to ban menthols, at least not till maybe next year. But that shows that Biden will do anything for these militants.
Yeah.
Whatever they say, he will do.
And you know what? In California, they've already banned it, but a whole lot of blacks have left California.
Yeah, well, one of the things Sharpton warned Biden about, that if he didn't do away with the ban, there would be more, Gardner incidences. You know, the guy in New York that was selling cigarettes on the street.
That's right, Eric Garner, or whatever his name was. Yeah.
Right. That this is his threat to Biden.
Yeah, because Eric Garner was selling loose, or had been in trouble with police in the past for selling so-called Lucy cigarettes illegally without, so he would buy a big old pack and then sell them individually or something like that.
Yeah, but what doesn't make sense about Sharpton's excuse is that if they ban the menthol cigarettes, there won't be anybody like Gardner selling them, illegally on the street because they'll be banned.
Right, so but it will make sort of a black market on some level.
Well, unless they produce them, some crook produces the cigarettes, they won't be able to do that. So again, that was a false argument.
And you know what? I think that they will eventually ban them. I think I disagree with banning them. I think I don't agree with that. But because it's like mama government. Anyway.
Well, okay, not to change the subject.
Yeah.
But do you believe parents should be allowed to mutilate their children under the guise of a sexual identity thing? Or do you think the government should stop parents?
I think I think the local government should impose on that. I don't know about a national law. Maybe it should be, but I don't know. I don't really like the nationals doing a law. I think the states or local areas should deem those people child abusers, I think. On a personal level, if I were the boss of the world, I would say the men of the town should step in and be like, no, you're not doing this. But what do you say?
Well, here's what I think. If they don't make it federal, these outlaw states like California, Illinois, and New York are going to allow mutilation of children to continue. The local governments here have been squashed by a dictator, at least in the case of California. And I'm sure New York with Hochul is not any better. They will not stop the mutilation of children, even if the parents object.
Right.
So unless there's federal law, they will violate humanity and will allow children to be mutilated without their parents' knowledge. So, you could call that government interference, but I think the government should interfere when it comes to saving people's lives. I don't think the government should be involved in forcing school integration. I don't think the government should keep out of those things.
Right.
But when it comes to saving lives, they should.
But But in terms of menthols are not as big a threat to your. Say you do a menthol once a month. That's not. I don't think that's a major. Maybe that'll take away from your life a little bit, but that's different from mutilating the child's body. That's extreme. Menthol.
I agree.
Is not so. It seems extreme to ban them. To my take. but I could be wrong.
Well,
Do a
they
menthol.
banned. Well, the thing is, though, I
But
mean,
anyway,
you know,
I
it's
don't have a
still
strong
invalid.
opinion about it. It doesn't affect my life.
No, me either, because I don't smoke. But
Yeah.
it does affect a lot of blacks because they prefer the menthol brand, which is more toxic, according to the doctors. And if you really hated blacks, you would say, yeah, let them have all the menthols they want.
Right.
So, you know, but I still don't believe, I believe that they should ban menthol because it's a cost and a burden to the healthcare system when these people abuse themselves for decades and
That's-
then go to the hospital and want the taxpayer to pay for their medical coverage.
Did you hear my conversation with Dylan Burns about nationalizing so-called health care?
Yeah, I listened a little bit. He seems to be kind of a commie.
Yeah. That's my take too, to be honest. But in terms of the health care burden, shouldn't the burden be on the individual who does that to pay their own thing? If they can't pay for their own health care, then they just have to physically suffer and physically die, I think. I'm not for this government or local community for being forced to take care of people who refuse to take care of themselves.
Well,
Is that cruel? Is that
situation-
cruel? Is that what? Am I wrong on that? I get that people mess
well-
up in life, and we should have. It's nice to have some mercy on people at times, but this
Yeah,
is
it's
like
just-
going
I
too
mean-
far. This is enabling people to be irresponsible with their health and lives.
Okay. Well, let's take an example of someone's in a motorcycle wreck and they break some bones and, you know, they're all messed up and they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
They're younger adults and they go to the hospital without insurance. You can't let that person die. I mean, and then you could bill him, you know, for the services provided. But then the problem with that is they don't pay their bill. They go into bankruptcy and it hurts them. It hurts our economy.
Yeah.
And so on. So I don't know. I'm opposed to Obamacare
Right.
on its face
Yeah.
because it does take from the people. I've talked to many people, independent contractors who pay their own medical, and when Obamacare passed, their premiums skyrocketed.
Yeah.
So basically, they're paying for the lowlifes who don't have insurance and will abuse the system. So no, I'm against Obamacare. It's communism. It's you know, forced compliance. It's totally wrong. You know, I'm blessed to have full coverage. You know, I worked a job where I've got full coverage, and I don't have that as a problem. But
Right.
economically, the most bankruptcies in America are because of unpaid hospital bills
Wow.
because people don't have insurance.
Now,
And now I
that's
see
but
the
that's the
liberals-
short.
Pardon?
That's the short-term reason. That's not the deeper reason. Not being able to pay the insurance or the bills is not the deeper reason, truly, because there have been communist subversion or some type of subversion, satanic subversion of our economy, where money's not worth anything, our work is not worth anything, and the so-called healthcare industry has been corrupted through various means. I'm going to read about them on the Super Chats, to where it gets way expensive, and so stuff shouldn't necessarily be that expensive. We should be able to afford more with the money that we do make, and then on top of that, people live pretty irresponsible lives. So we have three things going on: corruption in the economy, corruption in the healthcare world, and insurance, and a corruption of the people themselves. So we need to fix those things, not solve it with the symptom of subsidizing people's lives.
I agree. Now, for your information, for the audience to know, Hochul, the governor of New York, just passed a law that says if your credit bureaus who rate you on your credit cannot use medical bills as a way to disqualify you from having bad credit.
Yeah, I saw that too.
What do you think? Is that a good idea or bad?
I think it's I personally think it's bad. I know that people who are decent conservative people in my chat or in Hake News chat on JLP have said that that's how it's supposed to be. I think it's kind of bad because you're not factoring in something that's a major issue in their life and their ability to afford to pay you back for things, you know? What do you say?
That, correct, I agree. But if you get a job and the hospital keeps calling your employer to pay them because you're delinquent in your payments, bosses don't like that.
Right.
Companies don't like to be hassled by bill collectors. So it could, a bad credit rating could affect your ability to get a job.
Right.
And, I don't know what the answer is to this. It looks like we're going down the socialist path unless President Trump steps in and becomes president, and stops what's going on all the way around.
Yeah.
And I don't know any other way to stop this. In fact, not just that issue, but just about every issue that Biden has, destroyed that Trump built. If Trump doesn't get back in, I don't think there's much of a future for the country.
No, yeah.
I've even heard that he's so dead set on giving the Ukraine our money, he's willing to affect our Social Security payments.
Wow,
So,
really? That's wild.
That's what I read, and that could put a lot of people in poverty.
Yeah, seriously. I think Social Security was a corrupt thing and never should have been instituted, but now it's been here for like 100 years almost, and there's a whole lot of people who've paid into it, but they're not. It's not real security.
Well, the problem is if they cut it out, you would literally have millions of people on the street the next day.
Yeah.
So many people are dependent, especially, obviously, the elderly.
Right.
If they had lost that, they can't get jobs now. They're too old.
Yeah.
And they lose maybe at least half their income, if that's not their only income.
Yeah.
And the blacks, again, would be the most affected because for that, I don't know the percentage, but way over 50% of elderly black people collect and live on solely Social Security.
Yeah.
So they would be the first ones to suffer in this.
Right.
So it's just like the menthol cigarettes. You try to do something good, and they don't want it. You're taking away our rights to kill ourselves.
Yeah. Prep Ham Paul in the Rumble chat says the chemicals and sugars in most of our food in America is killing more people than cigarettes, he says. Are we going to ban that too? Ban booze too? Alcohol, beer, and all that stuff?
Well, it was banned at one time.
It was banned. I heard the women were behind that. And I don't know if it was good or bad to do that. There's a whole lot of...
Well, the women were. Women were opposed to alcohol back in the suffragette era.
Yeah, okay.
And that may have had a hand in why they did prohibit alcohol. I don't drink. It wouldn't bother me if they did prohibit alcohol, and it wouldn't bother me if they prohibited cigarettes.
Right.
That kind of stuff doesn't bother me because I don't indulge.
Nice.
But it does have a big tax revenue for the government, alcohol and cigarettes.
Yeah.
So that may not, you just have to discipline yourself to not drink, smoke, don't get into race mixing, and you'll live a good life.
Nice. Interesting wisdom, man. I appreciate your call. Mark in Los Angeles.
I just wanted to say one last thing. I appreciate the fact that you give me a forum and allow me to speak because a lot of these truths may not get out, and I praise you for that.
All right.
And thank you, and you have a good day.
All right. Merry Christmas, man.
Merry Christmas. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ooh. Greg in New York is on the line. Greg, thanks for calling and holding. How you doing?
Good, Hake.
Hey.
So, I don't know, you guys' shows all line up with me working, so I'm working again. I got like 4 minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
Your question.
I'm glad I got you.
Yeah. What's the difference between not floating away and being pulled down to the ground constantly?
I don't know if there's a difference. I don't know
So you don't think there's a difference?
Yeah, I mean, the difference between not floating away and being pulled down to the ground constantly, I don't know if I can express any difference.
Well, because to me it relates to buoyancy versus gravity. Like some people believe in gravity.
Yeah. And
then some people say that, you're more dense than air, so that's why you're not floating away. And I kind of boiled it down to that one question.
Is gravity a pull or is it a push?
I think people say it's a pull, right?
Yeah,
So,
people say that it's
yeah.
a pull, but it might actually be a push.
Really? I've never heard this.
I only heard it once, and Bill, the engineer, is nodding his head, saying, "Yeah, that it may be a push." Wow, crazy, huh? It's a push and not a pull.
I've never heard that. It's my first time hearing that. And then,
Yeah.
they
And
say
by
Newton
buoyancy,
discovered-
you mean because a lot of flat earthers think by buoyancy that just the denser things fall to the bottom and the less dense things remain a little bit higher than the denser things. For exceptions to the rule, I would imagine, of course.
I could go both ways. I just know that gravity was made by, or discovered or whatever, made popular by Isaac Newton, who I hear was a Freemason. I also heard he was born on Christmas. And then I also heard, funny enough, this comes up today, but he thought he knew when the end times would be because, like, he looked at numbers in the Bible or whatever.
Isaac Newton. Well, in the words of young Albert Einstein, Newton's wrong. But I don't know.
Really?
Isaac Newton. No, I'm kidding when I say that. But young Albert Einstein is a movie in which the young Albert Einstein is told by some group of experts that Isaac Newton said if you're on a train going light speed and you're walking forward on that train, you're going faster than the speed of light. And Albert Einstein says, Newton's wrong. And he's eating some apple. And but Isaac Newton, I read a little when I was a kid being homeschooled. I read Isaac Newton's like a biography on him, and it was like I know the story of the apple falling from the tree, or the old wives' tale about the apple falling from a tree, and then he came up with the theory of gravity to describe how
That's the
stuff is
theory.
going. Yeah.
Oh, you reminded me. Have you ever heard the album Flat Earth Man?
Flat Earth Man, the album? I have
Yeah.
not.
Oh my gosh, you would love it. You gotta listen to it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's Flat Earth Man by Conspiracy Music Guru. It's got such classics as Flat Earth Man, track number 1. It's got Don't Believe in Gravity. It's got Space is Fake, Satellite Hoax. You would love that album.
Well, thank you for the tip. Is it Christian?
Good question. I don't know. I know this. The guy sings the album with a fake country accent, but he's actually British. So
Wow.
That's a hoax.
It's probably
In my
he's
opinion.
mocking. So maybe he's mocking the beautiful Southerners.
I think that he just didn't want people to know his real identity. Cause,
Oh, okay.
You know, he
So he
used to be
wasn't-
a British music guy. Yeah.
So he wasn't trying to denigrate the beautiful South.
No, definitely not. 100% not.
Nice.
No.
Are you a flat earther?
I called the other day and I told you that I'm extremely open to it.
Okay,
It doesn't-
I remember
you
now.
know, yeah, it doesn't pull me one way or the other, like supposedly gravity, but I don't
Push.
care.
Push. Think
But
of it.
I am very open to it.
Cool, man. Well, I know that you have to get back to work, so I appreciate your call, man.
No problem. I'll call in again, but you got to listen to that.
Sounds good.
album.
Merry Christmas to you, Greg in New York.
Merry Christmas, Hake, and the whole South.
Appreciate it. All right. Bye.
See ya.
Wow. Wasn't that nice? Short and sweet. Shout out to the flat earthers. I say it's an obvious globe. Look at that horizon, how crisp and straight. Whew. That's got to be a globe because we're seeing the disk of visibility on the ball. I want to get a globe for myself so I can demonstrate to you guys. I had a globe when I was a kid. Not I, but my family did. Thank you, Greg in New York. David in Ocala is on the line out of Florida. What's up, David? How you doing, man?
Good afternoon, James.
Good afternoon to you. Good morning over here. Nice.
Well, I want to sort of apologize for getting a little aggressive at your host the other day.
Oh, my
I'm
guest.
sorry, I
You're
was
talking about, you got aggressive and you
Dylan.
told him, it's not funny, man, to Dylan
Yeah.
Burns.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it's like I said, I was at a party last night and it was real loud, so my voice is a little messed up more today. But anyway, but more I think about it, the kid deserves it. You know what I'm saying? He's just out there. I mean, he's
He deserves for you to scold him and tell him it's not funny.
A little bit, because he's buying into this Ukraine bull crap. I mean, he doesn't understand what the war machine is, and that it's just all about money. That's all it is.
Oh, interesting.
We got no right to get into that business.
I personally agree with you on the motives are corrupt. Money, fake emotional power, feel sorry, spread democracy or protected democracy. Give me a break. And then,
right.
And what did you say just now?
No, nothing really.
I forget.
Just said that
there was some other
war machine.
The war machine.
Yeah, because
No, it wasn't. That wasn't the last thing you said. You said something else that I agreed with. But anyway, we don't have the right.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I think I think there's truth to that. It's us meddling in it has resulted in more death.
Well, and it's just like, I wanted to talk, Keith yesterday, that's a sharp guy. Okay. He's 65 years old. So he's 7 years older than me.
Keith from Illinois.
He's exactly right. Why are the 15% of the blacks trying to fix the other 85% that ain't coming? I mean, and they are just evil. I mean, I just saw a video today where I don't know where it's at. It was a jewelry store that was locked up, and they sent this girl in there to walk around inside it. And on her way out, she made it to where the thieves could come in. They could grab the door and come in, and they come in. There's like 5 of them. They got sledgehammers. They're going to come in there and smash and bash until the old man pulled his gun out, and then they ran. Okay.
Wow, where was this?
It was on YouTube. I saw it, or the news. It just happened like in the last little bit. And the deal was, the guy's dog, he had a German Shepherd, and the German Shepherd was at the vet that day. Okay. Yeah, because he keeps the German Shepherd in the store. But anyway.
So a crime averted by an armed citizen with a gun.
Did you see it?
No, but you're telling me about it.
Oh, yeah, because he had a gun. I mean, if he wouldn't have had a piece, and Keith's right, because it's like that police commissioner up in Minneapolis saying that they didn't teach that technique with the knee deal, okay?
Oh, yeah, and that was a lie.
Yeah, and then I think he brought up that black lady. I don't know if she's running for mayor or whatever it was, but they caught her cussing real bad, using God's name in vain like crazy on tape.
Uh-huh.
But when you see her and you meet her and you look at her face to face, she's like, "Oh, I'm an angel,"
Okay.
But behind the scenes, she's just laying out all this GD this and GD that and MF this and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Keith's right.
Okay. Cool, man. Yeah, yeah. Even Joe from Phoenix was talking about these single mothers, how they're a lot of them, they have a bad attitude and don't want to participate in the success of their children's lives. And then when they are successful despite their failure, but thanks to the good sense of somewhat halfway 30% decent, 5% decent men who impose some level of standard on them, they want to take part in all the glory, these mothers.
Yeah, like what he was talking about, where he wouldn't let them start playing basketball unless they had B's.
Yeah, B average, and then do some tutoring and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then they show up, they're all proud of their kids, I mean, probably didn't even come and give them an apology for the way they acted.
Of course not. But yeah.
But hey, the abortion thing, and you're talking about what is the age a woman should have a kid at.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
I would probably say the optimum age would be 25 because they could still bounce back. But
so is that the latest? That's the latest optimum age, or is that the
late? Yeah, because
what's the true biological optimum, separate from their sense of maturity? Because I feel like in the olden days, young men and women, boys and girls, were maturer at a younger age because they were given responsibilities and life was tougher and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah, they had to work on
So
the
what's
farm, and they had
biologically
to go
what would
field
you,
the deer.
without getting
I would
yourself
say-
in trouble, biologically,
I would say back then it would be like probably 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
Now it's bumped up to like 25 because they're so messed up. I mean, you got these girls, they interview these girls and they say, "What's your body count?" And the girl goes, 20, another one 25, another one 40. That's why they want to keep abortion, okay, because they're getting ran through, like they say. And,
Ooh,
and men
that's
don't
a little
want, men don't, yeah, men don't
sorry,
want to women.
kids and ladies, that's a little rough of an explanation.
Well, I'm sorry.
But I mean,
I
it's
thought I was being in code there, but
yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
It's maybe
man
maybe
wants
I'm
a
too
woman like
tender-hearted
that.
for such a euphemism.
Well, these college girls, that's them. They're the ones that are getting the abortions. You know,
Yeah.
the latest numbers are 64 million abortions. Okay.
That's the
Now-
total abortions that have taken place since Roe v. Wade in America.
Right.
Okay.
So let's just say a third of those people had children. Okay, one child. Then we'd be up to 100 million people that don't exist right now.
Yeah.
Got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, and what happened
And I
was
honestly
when
think Kevin Howe and Richard Spencer and others disagree with me, but I think that the fact that they've had these abortions has affected their souls to be more cold and cruel, so that we have a crueler, colder, more, I would even dare say, higher crime society as a result.
I
Vicious
agree.
society
The
as a
women
result.
well, they've lost. They lost a piece of themselves when they did that to
Yeah.
them. And
So I don't-
And what they did.
So I respectfully disagree with Kevin Howe and Richard Spencer that that it reduces crime because that's, as Kevin Howe would say, that's probably 100 million more gangbangers with no fathers. He speculates. I think that those gangbangers would be nicer.
I would say that maybe probably like 20% of that would be, you know, there'd be 20% more gangbangers.
Right, but there
okay?
would be that many more slightly more sensible gals and guys, and the mothers wouldn't have their conscience seared by that.
Well,
anyway.
right, their conscience is seared, and what they're doing is they're playing God, okay?
Right.
Because they're, you know, just
But
like the girl that.
But what do you say about Kevin Howe? He makes a great point that those of us who are pro-life, we have a bit of a mama spirit, many of us, who want to force and impose on these people who are for killing their children. Isn't there a wrong attitude, because we're not being necessarily godly, we're getting self-righteous about it, aren't we, many times?
Well, I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why I disagree with abortion, okay? Because I'm a good
But answer
example.
me before you tell me why you disagree with abortion. Answer me that. Isn't that true that the pro-lifers get a mama spirit about it?
Well, they can. You know, they can. I can.
They
where you're coming
more
from.
than they can. We do. Many of us do. We get emotional about it. We puff up. Isn't it? We get self-righteous.
Well, if you
try to
if you feel
impose.
well, they're killing a baby.
I know
man.
it's
That's
not
why-
about them. It's about us, whether we get the mama spirit or not.
Okay. Well, I think
Isn't that
the
you
ones
said
that-
they can? I say we do.
Well, that's just like you saying yesterday that we all have. the
Calling out
devil in
evil
us,
and
dude.
stopping evil is not mama spirit. Not necessarily. Yeah, that's not the mama spirit. But the mama spirit is when you do it with feeling.
Feeling. Oh, you mean with your emotions?
Yeah, with your self-righteousness, your ego, with the puffing up. Because God doesn't. He probably knows that it's wrong, but he's not stopping them.
Well, everybody's circumstances
And we can't. I mean,
are
he
a
left
little
it to
bit
us.
different,
Maybe he
probably.
left it to the men of society to put a stop to it, but not with this emotional pro-life or feel sorry, human rights, mama spirit nonsense.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So you want to hear why I don't agree with abortion?
I guess.
Besides them killing people,
Sure.
killing a baby.
All right.
All right, because my mother had me when I was 17, and she had to jump out her window and run away to keep me.
When she was 17, not when you were 17.
When she was 17, she got pregnant and she had to run away. She came from my mother and grandfather on her side were very wealthy. Okay, my grandmother wanted her to give me up for adoption, and she bolted. And luckily, she turned 18 about 3 weeks after I was born. Okay, and my grandmother couldn't make her give me up. But so that's why I'm really against it, because of what my mother did for me. I wouldn't be alive if my mother would have aborted me. That was one of the things that my grandmother wanted her to do. You're too young and all this and that, which is understandable. When I got older,
but 17 is probably the ideal age. Didn't you just tell me that?
Back in the old days,
right? And biologically, probably
when they're working on a farm.
Yeah.
They're not now.
Right. Or 58 years ago.
Wrong, and you wouldn't be. I wouldn't be talking to you, and you wouldn't be talking to me.
Right.
Okay. And that's the thing that people. What is there? Who knows how many smart scientists or whatever got yanked out of their mother's womb, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right, cool, man. Thank you for the story, David in Ocala. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, I want to say something real quick, man. There's a lot of people that make nice comments in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, about people, and there's a lot of people that make mean comments and stuff, and that's just a sign of weakness. And one made this comment, and they need to be real careful. They wrote "F the Bible." Okay.
Oh, and they need to be careful about saying F the Bible.
F the Bible. Are you out of your mind? Okay.
But God doesn't care about that. You notice that? He said only blasphemy of the Spirit. He only talked about blasphemy of the Spirit. Because the Bible cannot be blasphemed. Because the Bible is not God that it can be blasphemed. But the Spirit, if you deny the Spirit or blaspheme the Spirit or something like that, then you got no sense.
Well, okay. Well, hold up a second.
Spiritually dead.
So you're saying that the Bible was godly inspired. Okay, God literally wrote the Bible through men. Now, if you believe that men just wrote the Bible, then yeah. But if you believe that the Word of God was divinely inspired by God, like it says, and men wrote through God inspiring them to write down every word that they wrote, then now you're trampling on God. Okay, now you're mocking God when you say F the Bible. Now,
not necessarily.
That just men just wrote it. Okay, which I don't believe. I don't believe that. I believe it was God inspired, and it's holy, it's righteous, it's holy, man. So you're that's all. That's why. How
about this though? Men nowadays interpret the Bible in all kinds of cockamamie ways, and maybe that's why they're saying F as in forget the Bible. They're misunderstanding it. That's not necessarily blasphemy, man.
Or they don't believe, because there's a lot of people in the chat that mock God on your channel, man.
Yeah.
So it's not just one person. I mean, you got many.
Yeah.
Listen, I know you got to roll. Thanks for taking my call, and have a great day, y'all. Okay?
Thank you, David. Appreciate you. Take care.
All right, later on, buddy. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Huh. We are at 5 minutes till the top of the hour. I feel like getting to a song, I feel like getting to a song. It's Christmas time, It is. So let's listen to another Sufjan Stevens song. How about? Yeah? Kids? This is Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. It's a nice old hymn, but it's a rendition by Sufjan Stevens, the guy who plays the banjo and has this soft, lilting, liberal voice. It's from the 2002-ish or later, I don't know, 2001, 2003, 4, or 5. Hark! Songs for Christmas, or Songs for Christmas anyway. It's about 5 minutes long. I hope you enjoy it, you musical Philistines. I'll be right back to your calls. There is one line open, and your super chats. I'm remiss in not getting to the super chats. And some cool clips. Be right back. Enjoy Sufjan Stevens, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Be right there.
Jesus saw me when a stranger, wandering from the fold of God, me to rescue me from danger, interposed his precious blood. Oh, to grace, how great a debtor daily I'm constrained to gain. Let that grace now, like a fetter, bind my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. Prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, oh, take and seal it for thy thrones above.
Oops. There's a kitty cat.
Come thou fount of every blessing, to my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet, sung by flaming tongues above. Praise the mount I'm fixed upon it, mount of thy unchanging love.
Well, thank you guys for bearing with me through that beautiful music. My opinion, beautiful. Let's get to some super chats, shall we? Yes, we shall. Barf Boy bought a coffee. It's coming to the end of the year, and I suggest we vote for a Caller of the Year award. Interesting. Where the sensible answer would be William or Denny. My answer, my vote, is going to the dude who called you up telling you he drooled on his pillow whilst sleeping, and you didn't understand how much drool there was. That was this year. You'll never be forgotten, brother. I hope you get your drool problem sorted out. Kissy face emoji with a heart coming out of that kiss. Well, thank you, Barf Boy. Thank you for reminding us. So he thinks the sensible answer would be William or Denny, but this person votes for, Barf Boy votes for the drooler. Pretty funny. Man, I really have to get to these super chats from Dylan Burns, guys. Dylan Burns. Someone bought a coffee saying, eliminating frivolous lawsuits. Hey, yes. Tort reform, whatever that is. I remember that buzzword. Tort reform. National competition. Tort reform, maybe not eliminating it, but having it. Not sure whether he means that. Bring back national competition between the states, like Trump wanted to do, eliminating the lines between the states. Publishing costs is the conservative plan for reducing health insurance cost. Rand Paul said we could get to $1 per person per month. Wow. Other than the government option, which continually becomes less efficient and more expensive, Dylan agrees with the conservatives, says someone. Wow. Interestingly, Dylan Burns, my guest from Tuesday, who is a communist. I call him that. Useful idiot for communism. He's a Democrat, 22 years old. Dylan points out, but he's very knowledgeable on, foreign policy, history, stuff like that. But no sense, or limited sense. Interestingly, Dylan points out some of the problems with the U.S. federal government. Representatives used to have their own jobs, remaining home and working close to their constituents, and only met in D.C. when needed. Now they are wealthy, entrenched, and out of touch. States have abdicated their federalism over the generations. That's right, the states' rights, states' power. And we've abdicated that to the feds over this generations, such that the power structures are centrally planned and managed, i.e. communism, central planning. No, you want local communities to make their own rules and impose the laws of the town. That way you can face the people who have more power over your life. You can't face the people, the feds. They're faceless bureaucrats, and the representatives are hard to reach and influence. And so is the evil President Biden. Even Trump, as a solid of a guy as he is, you don't have his ear necessarily. He doesn't know what the issues are that you're dealing with. And he doesn't have time to deal with that. That's why it's local control. Anyway, continuing with someone's coffee. Like all liberals with poison knowledge, that's right, knowledge is poison many times. Words have meaning when they don't want you describing something negatively. You're using communism wrong. Yet stochastic terrorism, S-T-O-C-H-A-S-T-I-C, terrorism and assault weapons have fluid definitions. I know, huh? But are totally accurate. Dylan, as in Dylan Burns, has strong convictions about the USA and Ukraine. He could help both by fighting on the front lines. Oh, man. Whoa. I disavow that. You're suggesting and dying? Because that's what King David did to Uriah the Hittite. Isn't that what King David did to Uriah the Hittite, the Bathsheba's husband? They had him put on the front lines, and then they drew back for him to get killed. That's essentially murder. Don't wish ill on Dylan Burns just because he got no sense. Even with the lack of sense that he has, there are some even worse than him, I think. And, anyway. Carver bought a coffee. Hey, Hake. And Dylan Burns. I agree, Dylan is a communist. He proved it today, meaning Tuesday. I'm remiss in not reading it until Thursday. His so-called Ukraine studio equipment coming from redistribution of our tax dollars. Oh, really? Is that true? Maybe. Someone bought a coffee. I thought socialism had to do with the collective ownership of the means of production. Collective, meaning communist. Communist buzzword. Hake is just throwing around the terms communism and socialism as a way of describing anything that's remotely on the left. Words have meanings. What is socialism? What is communism? Socialism and communism are the same thing, except communism is socialism at the I almost said at the butt of a gun, at the barrel of the gun. A butt of a gun is pretty bad too, meaning socialism by force. But socialism is by force too, so it's not much difference. Socialism is not just collective ownership of the means of corruption of production. How are you going to do that except the government imposing that? Because the people who quote unquote work for the business, they don't automatically own that. How are they going to own that? Unless they steal it or have the government steal it for them from the the enterprising people who had the good sense and know-how and work and discipline to make the business and create the means or build up the means, put together the means of production. So that's government imposing and micromanaging and meddling in people's lives at a central level, and the useful idiots support it, and also it also does not believe in private property, and it's also doesn't believe in God. It's atheistic. It's atheist. Sorry, Lin Yin Chin. You don't need an IC at the end. It's atheist. It's atheism. All right. Maybe there's a little bit of, maybe there's, I don't know. Maybe there's exceptions to the rules there. I don't know. But at root, it's atheism. Sounds like commie propaganda, comment Hake. Yeah, it does sound like communist propaganda, Hake. I agree. This person doesn't believe in God. They're using that, ownership of the means of production, when in reality, communism divides and conquers. It's about destruction of the, it's fake ideas of, slavery is wrong. Wage labor is wrong, and stuff like that. Atheistical is also an acceptable English word, according to spoiler alert, according to Wiktionary. Whoa, atheist, atheistic, and atheistical. I would join Lin Yan Chin and have a fit if I were to hear atheistical, but maybe I'll start saying that just because I find it amusing. I'm not correcting Lin Yan Chin. Lin Yan Chin corrects me. But yeah, communism is about lies. It's about divide and conquer between the races, between the so-called classes, and it's bringing in, subverting right and wrong with their own version of right and wrong. Satan pretends to be the light. That's how you fall for evil and call evil good and good evil. Nice. Thank you, someone. John F. bought 3 coffees. Karl Marx said communism can be summed up as the abolition of private property. You don't own your own stuff. You don't own your own home. In America, we have a communist country. You have to pay rent in the form of property taxes to the evil governments. Thank you, John F., for those 3 coffees. My close and personal friend Jib Jab had a question for Dylan Burns. Dylan, what is the ultimate outcome you're seeking by mummificating the government? The government. You are operating from a female spirit, trying to do good, but instead bringing shame upon yourself. Yeah, so true. Very true. They think that they're doing good. These do-gooders, helping people and all that stuff. He called it market failure, that people can't afford to take care of themselves. They catch cancer or something like that. Wrong. It's not market failure. That's communism failure. It's already communist, and he wants to bring even more communism. That's what I say. Thank you, my close and personal friend, Jib Jab. Great super chats. Property taxes is communism, says Charlie Church. Some of that stuff that I've learned from Bill Lockwood, who comes on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. He would quote these people as saying, you have to be atheist. It necessarily separates you from God, this communism belief. All right, let me get to William in California, who's on the line. William, thanks for calling, man. How you doing?
Hey, what's happening, man?
Not much.
You see this Christmas thing Joe Biden did over there? Disgusting.
Oh, yeah. Somebody quote tweeted it. I think Matt Walsh, who's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, he's a Daily Wire now. It had these dancer people running down in this video that I saw, quote tweeted by Matt Walsh, put out by Jill Biden.
Was that the hallway of the White House?
I think it was the hallway of the White House with these scantily clad, like, black female dancers, mildly attractive, but
No, they weren't.
Seemed
Stop.
dirty.
You need to stop that. You need to stop that. Dude, you need to stop being scared of what you want to say. I
think she was mildly attractive.
Trying to protect your no, James, hold on. I don't want to overtalk you. I don't want you to overtalk me. Listen to me. Okay, somebody accused you of having, somebody told you to have a personal phone call with me yesterday. I love your show, dude.
Nice.
So check this out, man. You don't have to, I know about saving your show and this little period time we got with the Bidens in office, and we got to watch what we say, and YouTube switched it up.
I've gotten, I don't know how many strikes and takedowns just in a number of
man.
just days.
And I've never, me personally, have never been so hateful that I would go out my way to say something to one of your callers to get you canceled. I could drop a whole bunch of B-bombs on your favorite caller, but you haven't heard me do that. You know why? Because I got some class, baby. I don't need to do that. And I kept telling you, stop matching me up with that fool. I don't love these hoes.
Right.
I don't love these hoes. And I call Sheila
But
Jack
no,
anything
hold
I
on,
want.
hold on.
But I'm just
but
saying,
hold on, Maze is not that.
No, hey, I don't love none of these hookers. Dude,
Wait. William,
Stop that,
I
man.
gotta go, man. You're going out of control.
Oh, no. I'm not trying to do that. But
don't call them hookers. That's crazy.
Okay. But you allow them to call each other names, James.
I know, but hookers is totally different. You can't be.
And the
This is a
N-word
children's
just
friendly
lost
show.
You time. Wait a minute. The N-word lost you time.
No, the N-word discussion was funny. It was good.
It's not even cool, man. I understand you being concerned about your safety.
No, but I say mildly attractive because I sincerely think that there's some mildly attractiveness. I'm not protecting my channel when I say mildly attractive.
Okay, you're not. Okay,
yeah, I'm kidding around. I'm having fun. And in this case,
I misunderstood you, but what I said is what I said. I don't love none of them.
But you should love all of them.
Don't pair me up. Don't pair me up because that just makes entertainment. I like news. And that's what me and you were talking about.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't like the spats.
Now,
remember yesterday you had we had a nice conversation with a gentleman. Don't agree with him on 100%. Great conversation.
Oh, you're talking about Ronnie from Ohio.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He has respect.
Yep.
I got respect for him. Keith.
Yeah.
Great call.
Yep.
You know, he's got points. I'm with Keith. I ain't helping you do a damn thing.
But man, you're cut. I mean, you cuss a lot. Don't say damn because the kids
That's not
are not
against
supposed.
the law.
It's a cuss. That is the number one curse word.
Do you
because
have kids
when you
actually
say
listen to
damn,
your show?
yeah, they actually listen to my show.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So like damn is saying God curse this to hell.
No. You cleared it up. You said you do have kids.
Yeah.
To them.
Right.
So when you said that, that's fine. That's
All
fine.
right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So you seen this thing in the White House, right?
Yeah, that was ridiculous. That's gross. That's not Christian. Doesn't seem very Christian. Even though it was Christmas themed, it's not Christian.
Yeah.
That's sort of pagan. And so I know these people who say, oh, that's a pagan holiday. I know it's a Christian holiday, but the pagans are trying to, not the good pagans, not the Kevin Howes or the, but the bad pagans. Yeah.
Shout out to Kevin Howe.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and then you was talking about the menthols. Yeah, Negroes do smoke menthols a lot, and I think this was this 2 years ago. I don't know if this is a state thing or a federal thing.
California
Mark
and the
this
feds.
up.
Yeah, the feds want to ban it, and they will eventually, but they're putting it off for now.
Okay, so Mark brought this up. That's very interesting because you do know the difference between San Francisco and Oakland. One is really black, and one is semi-black.
Yeah, right.
Okay, you probably
San Francisco is semi-black, and
there's only
Oakland is very black.
41,000 black people in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So there you go. I think it was 2 years ago somebody said something about that, and it's like, man, how do you going to pull a product off the shelf? Isn't that communism? So they said, well, the
I think
menthols,
it is.
Yeah, because it's like they say the menthol is more addicting, or I don't think that's the reason, James. I really don't. I think the reason is that they know that Negroes like menthols more, and I noticed that they got them out of the stores. They were really out of the stores. If you go to anybody's store in San Francisco, they're out of the stores.
It's all over California. They've banned it statewide.
So this is a statewide thing.
Yeah, it's statewide. And Caught in the Middle pagans are cool too. What's up, Caught in the Middle? Matthew of Caught in the Middle with one T. So you think that they're banning the menthols to get at the blacks?
I think is to get them out of certain towns.
Oh wow! I mean, that's interesting. So that's your conspiracy
menthols?
theory.
Women, gay people,
and blacks. I respect menthols somewhat. I'm a menthol respecter, even though I don't. By that I mean, I can understand the draw of having it taste a little bit better and not choke your throat so bad. I get that young people get hooked on it and then they go to harder cigarettes. If there's such a thing.
Well,
People
I
don't
know.
realize how much they're smoking because it softens the blow, but it's still a blow, and then long term, it's still bad.
I was just talking to Sean about it. He said the same thing. It's like, you know, there is definitely a difference with the cigarette, the menthol cigarette, the menthol cigarette customer.
Menthol is what makes it cooler on the throat. It's like the gum, or sometimes cough syrup, or
It's got a bite. It's got some kind of bite.
Yeah, it feels cool on your throat, and then if you drink water, it's like cold. Like there's menthol gum, there's menthol
chewing gum. You got, you know, different flavors of chewing gum. You got what's that?
Is it on Vicks? Is it in Vicks? The Vicks stuff that you rub on your chest to smell. Is that menthol?
Minty too.
Yeah.
That stuff is kind of minty too.
Kind of it's sort of spearmint or mint, but it's menthol. Anyway, I'm just trying to describe it for the people who don't know, because I had no idea what menthol meant.
The menthol is a mint cigarette versus a regular flavor.
Yeah, it cools the throat.
Right,
Yeah.
and it really seemed like there's something to this ethnic thing when it comes to
Mentos.
that, because, well, I mean,
Those mints.
Mark just hit it on the nose. Most of them that smoke those things are black, gay, and women.
Yeah, and those three groups do sometimes die sooner, I guess.
Well, yeah.
From cigarettes.
That was a good show with Dylan, but people need to know the difference, because I hear a lot of times people, you need to know the difference, because we need to kind of watch sending money overseas and all that, but then again, there's a lot of rookies out there that don't understand the dynamics of it either, because I really don't put the Israeli thing with the Ukrainian thing. I don't think it's the same.
Yeah, I think those are two different situations. I agree. I don't really want to fund either one of them. Like, I don't think that we need to
on that
fund
aspect,
Israel.
I do understand what you're saying as far as tax dollars. Yes, I agree with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
And bring these resources back home. I get that on that aspect, but they're two different situations.
They are. Yep.
You know. They're surrendering, and they're like the cowards that they are, in thousands right now.
Yeah.
You see. So how long did that last? A month? Wait.
I heard. Oh, so you're saying that Hamas has lost, or I heard that Israel may not be doing as successfully as they thought that they would. That's what I heard.
What?
That's just what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not.
Where did you hear it from?
From the internet. A reliable source on the internet. Now, I don't know how reliable, and I don't know if he's just speculating, but I heard that they're having a tougher time than they anticipated, maybe.
Well, they probably dug in a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
and that doesn't mean that they're winning, though.
No, I'm not saying that.
I know Israel is winning.
I think they both may be losing, because in war, there's not always a winner. Because Israel may be losing people. And on the public stage, there's a whole lot of, right or wrong, there's a whole lot of people who look negatively upon Israel. They're accusing them of genocide and stuff like that. And so that's a loss. Whether it's true or not, if that's what people are thinking, that's, at least on the short term, that's a sort of a loss, because then you have less sway with other people in the world if you need it.
What you're trying to say is, like in the case of Vietnam, we actually won every battle and mopped those people over there.
Vietnam?
Yeah.
No,
very
man.
Badly,
I heard
very badly. Well, no, wait a minute. Were you born then?
No, I was not, but I heard.
Okay, hold on.
Uh-huh.
So they rarely lost a battle. If you talk to some Vietnam vets, now you do have two different things. It's called a war and a battle.
Uh-huh.
They rarely lost any. They lost a lot of soldiers over there, not compared to the North Vietnamese casualties. It was incredibly crazy, out of control.
I heard we were losing a
we
lot
lost
more
a
than.
lot too. We lost a lot.
Yeah.
But not as many as them.
I don't
we
know.
politically lost that war.
I think a lot of individual soldiers lost a lot in that war.
No, when you just said something a few minutes ago about the Israeli thing,
Yeah.
you know, you said you're losing soldiers, and then next thing you lose is support.
Yeah, right.
Right. Vietnam was that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, as far as these battles and casualties and numbers, the United States was overwhelmingly winning that part. But back here at home, it was almost in the same situation as we got with this Hamas and Israeli thing right now. You know, a bunch of college kids on campus acting stupid about something they really didn't.
I totally agree on that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not taking sides on the situation. The hippies had their point. The conservatives had their point. The Democrats, of course, were with the hippies, and they demonstrated and tore up all the campuses. Now, these kids now think that's so cool to just turn the clock back and we can be like the 60s, and then we'll be in the history books.
Yeah, even the 60s.
Seen it before.
I think those 60s people were idiots, too, even though I kind of agree now that the Vietnam War was evil and was wrong. We shouldn't have done it.
Well, it was to combat communism. And,
right, but George Lincoln Rockwell, according to
something else, turned into something else.
According to this historical figure who died, George Lincoln Rockwell, he was an activist for the whites. He believed that the U.S. fought Vietnam in order to help spread communism, which it really did. I mean, look at
which one. Wait, which one is it going to be? To spread communism or to stop communism?
It actually, in effect, it spread it. Look at the anti-war demonstrators, a bunch of communists.
How many soldiers did we lose over there?
I don't know, but the soldiers who survived, didn't come back the same.
Of course not.
Right.
Of course not. Yeah.
And I think that we lost it. They lost too, but we lost too.
They lost and we lost. Yeah, you're right. Because the fall of Saigon.
Look at the anti-war demonstration people. Those are the hippies who are maybe the boomers and older people who are running the country now into the ground. And they're communists.
And they're actually kind of like doing the same thing.
Yeah. They're fighting evil with evil.
Because you know where the hippies are, right?
The boomers who are running the show now.
Do you know where they are? You know where they are?
Where?
Yeah.
In Congress.
Some.
Yeah. Where do you say?
A lot of them over at UCLA, UC Berkeley. A lot of them are college professors.
Right. Yep.
And I think that a lot of them are probably maybe early 70s, maybe.
Yeah.
And they're the professors over at
Berkeley. And they're not even as radical enough for the young, dumb people.
Well, you know, Perry, which is the guy that we have in politics now. He was in Vietnam. John Kerry.
John Kerry?
John Kerry, yeah.
Yeah, right.
he was...
he got swift-boated, right?
Well, you could see him at the demonstrations with his uniform, had his uniform like out of dress, you know what I mean? And kind of playing the hippie game a little bit, and he's at the demonstrations.
Shameful.
And right there. And now here we come into the 2000s, he's got a suit on and giving pallets of cash to Iran.
Wow. What a hypocrite.
I know. Hey, you have a good weekend.
Thank you, man.
I will call you every day and talk about what I want to talk about, because I'm going to tell you, until the blacks get out of the news negatively, I'm going to report it.
All right,
Y'all
man.
have a good day, man. Merry Christmas.
You too. William in California. Frederick in Los Angeles is on the line. Frederick, thanks for calling. What's up, man?
What's up, Hank?
Hey.
Oh, my goodness. That's crazy.
What's crazy?
I ain't going to comment. Why didn't you merge our calls?
You just commented. You said, I'm not going to comment, but you just commented.
I commented what?
You said, oh, my goodness, that's crazy. I'm not going to comment.
What was my comment, though?
Oh, my goodness, that's crazy. That's a comment. It's not it's not specifically addressing with an argument, but I'm not saying it's an argument. It's a comment.
Calm down. I can hear your anxiety get high when you talk to me. That's why you talk to William so long. I don't like it when he attacked Maze. I don't like it. You nip it in the
Me
bud.
neither. I don't like it when he attacks Maze either.
Me neither. And any man that
for some reason, I don't mind when Maze attacks people.
Any man attacks a woman is beta. Period.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I wanted you to merge our call so I can tell him that.
Oh.
And the way he talks in his little giggly voice, I can tell he's a grown child that can't control his emotions, that like to giggle and laugh and then call the police behind closed doors on somebody.
Whatever.
I can tell who he is, and as long as he's going to keep commenting on blacks, I'm going to keep calling every day, too.
Nice.
He ain't in the black community, and his daddy babied him, wouldn't let him go into the army, and he want to talk about the military that he don't know nothing about. He had to go to the school his mama wanted him to go to. He can't comment on black people. I'm pulling his race card. So tell William if you want to call in.
So he has a race card and you're pulling it?
I'm going to call in right behind him.
His race car or race card?
Card. I heard him. He said
card?
He was, it's
card?
His daddy's race car.
Like
he ain't
automobile?
Got no race car.
Automobile car? Race car?
No, he ain't got that no more. He sold his daddy's race car on eBay.
Are you talking about Biden or William?
Where does Biden come from? Stop. Anyway, let's talk about...
stay close to your phone.
Everybody... You say stay close to your phone?
Yeah.
You can't hear me? Okay.
Be on regular phone, man. You're not on speaker, are you?
No. I called in to talk about the cigarettes.
He's a communist, so he might be lying to me. Go ahead.
I'm 3 months clean and not smoking cigarettes.
Oh, really?
Yes. I used to smoke Newports for like 20 years. Thanks to California's ban, I'm cigarette-free, and it's the best thing that ever happened. And it's not just the taste. The study says menthol goes into different receptors in the body and makes you crave or feel the. It's a study that they did. It's not just the flavoring that makes it icy.
Uh-huh.
Or you can rub baser rub on your nose and smoke a cigarette, and it's not that. It's an ingredient in the menthol that hits receptors and make you take in the nicotine faster.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So the government. Now, I like that. I like that attitude because there are things that the government does, whether it's right or wrong, or YouTube does, or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, that I consider it evil. But you can take whatever they did, whether right or wrong, and use it to make your life or yourself or your actions better. And you did that by they're banning menthols. Well, I'm just gonna quit smoking then, and you're better off now. Right on. That's cool. I respect that. It's a respectable communist Pharaoh.
But yeah. But to each his own. And
so you agree with banning them?
Banning them?
Yeah.
The government gonna do what they gonna do. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about how we feel about it. You know what I'm saying? But
I'm curious what you think.
First caller, wait a minute. Your first caller to say, I don't drink. I don't care if they ban. No, I don't think the government should be in our business. And just because I don't gamble, I don't think they should legalize. You know what I'm saying? I do think government be overstepping too much stuff.
I see.
But just because it don't pertain to me, I ain't going to say, they should ban them now because I quit smoking.
Yeah.
No, I think people should have the right to destroy their lives. Go ahead and legalize the crack and heroin too then. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. So you're sort of a libertarian communist.
People going to do it.
You're sort of a libertarian communist, but you accept the health Nazi commies actions, but to make your life better because they banned it. They're going to do what they're going to do, and you're better off for it.
I'm a Pharaoh anarchist Marxist.
Okay, I see. Nice.
Yeah, that's
that makes I understand you now.
The whole table over. That's like flipping the whole chessboard over and saying, let's put these pieces back in place and see where the strongest men fall at, and we're going to see who's where in this game of life.
Okay,
that's
wow.
anarchy.
All right.
Yeah, survival of the fittest. But anyway, back to, I ain't going to get on him. But the cigarette, if you buy a case in Kentucky for $1,980, and mail them out here, you can make $6,000. That's a $4,000 profit for selling 24 cartons of cigarettes in a week. But I'm thinking people are going to try to get on that $4,000 a week profit, and yeah, there will be a large underground ring of people selling cigarettes. Because I just came from Kentucky, and yeah, they like $6 a pack compared to $25 a pack.
Oh yeah, you saw your grandson or something, huh?
He's out here.
Oh, right on, man.
Say hi, Hank.
Hey, hello.
Hi,
Hey, little,
we
little
went
Pharaoh.
To Wonderland. We didn't get to go to church. Yeah, that's my little Pharoah.
That's cute.
We went to Wonderland in South Robinson Park. Over at Rainer Park, they had snow and we slid, so I missed church. My bad.
No worries, man.
But I'll be there next Sunday if they ain't got nothing going on.
Pull up.
He's driving me. Yeah, we gonna pull up. All right, have a good one, Hank.
You too, Frederick. What a nice guy. What a nice commie. Nice Pharaoh anarchist commie. Man, CJ in Texas is on the line. CJ, what is up, man? How you doing?
Not much. How you been?
I've been well. Thank you, man. Appreciate hearing from you.
Well, seems like William and Frederick just don't really understand, but you're right. So there's a chemical called menthol.
Yeah.
Because you're like, is it menthol? And one's like, I don't know. Well, there's this flavor. It's menthol.
Okay.
Chemical derived from the peppermint plant.
Ah.
Yeah, your last caller, Frederick. No, Frederick, it is menthol that does make it addictive. And he's like, it's not menthol. They put this other, all the studies show that menthol enhances the effect of nicotine.
That's what I thought I heard from him was that menthol was actually part of the harmful aspect of it. It wasn't just the flavor. But continue.
Menthol is the thing that gives it the flavor.
Right, but it's also addictive or something.
Yeah, it makes nicotine more addictive.
Wow.
And it's associated with, like menthol will make people just more relaxed and stuff, and it binds to cold receptors. So it uses the same receptors and neural pathways as like if you were to get in contact with cold water.
Yeah.
Your brain thinks of it as the same thing.
Right, because that feels so cold, like when you have some type of like mouthwash or something, menthol, whatever, and then you drink water. Oh my gosh, the water is so cold.
Yeah, well, I was just, I could see your guest struggling with the chemistry.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd just call in and set it straight.
Well, I
Have
appreciate
a good
it.
one.
Thank you. You too. Take care. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know if I hung up on him or if I hung up mid-click. Nice. Thank you, CJ in Texas. Speaking of Texas, Daniel in Texas is on the line. Thank you for calling, Daniel. And Holden, what's up, man?
Hi, James.
Hey.
I'm one of the dumb college kids that wants to take it back to the 60s. The 1860s.
Right on, man. Is that pre or mid Civil War? So-called Civil War.
Well, Civil War is 61 through 65.
Wow. So do you like that part? Or do you like after the Civil War is done? After the killing's done, right?
The Reconstruction era is that's a whole other subject. It is interesting, but I mean, let's face it, all the good stuff happens in the war.
Oh,
that's where all the good stuff is going on, and then after the Civil War, it's basically arguing about who really won the Civil War. You know?
Wow. Yeah, the Reconstruction. Correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't that seem sort of communist now? Doesn't it seem sort of build back better-ish? Reconstruction, that term?
It depends. If you're asking me, what else are you going to do?
You do have to rebuild, sort of, but wasn't there some, like, for lack of a better word, Fed involvement and meddling in the states' rights? Reconstruction
was basically I guess I don't know what you're asking with the Fed meddling in states' rights.
Kind of Build Back Better stuff is like a wolf. When I think of Build Back Better, I think of Biden and the UN or whoever who said that, WEF maybe. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Let this thing be destroyed, and then we build it up in our evil image. So that's how I feel that the federal government or North did to the South. We destroyed the South, and now we're reconstructing it in a way that violates the will of the white Southerners down there.
And as opposed to
as opposed to letting the white Southerners down there rebuild the way they want to rebuild, but still be under the federal government somehow.
The white Southerners did not want to rebuild at all.
What'd they want to do?
Well, many of them did Reconstruction. James Longstreet was a big proponent of Reconstruction.
Oh, okay.
And it's one of the reasons why he came under a lot of flack, but he came under flack by people that were unreconstructed, by people that left the country, by people that decided they weren't going to have anything to do with
but weren't there were white Southerners who stayed in the country and they wanted to run they wanted to run things. They didn't like carpetbaggers, people from the North. So
and there was evil things with the carpetbaggers.
Yeah, and then there were illiterate blacks who were getting elected to office. I think I heard, and they were they were basically useful idiots, puppets, basically. I think that's how that's my impression from what I've heard. They were puppets of the North or something, puppets of the federal government.
Well, yeah, of course. Who isn't a puppet of the federal government? I mean,
know.
You are in a country, and the country can tax you.
No, but these were like illiterate blacks who were just gonna do whatever. I mean, did not have that fierce, independent spirit of the white Southerners who wanted to.
Well, nobody else is going to take them, James. Right?
Wait, take the positions? I'm talking about.
No,
I'm
take
talking
the
about
blacks.
No, but we're talking about blacks being put in office, though.
Yeah, you got to put them somewhere.
They don't have to be put in office.
Well, they won't go away. You put them in a box with a desk, and you say, "Oh, you're important now."
Oh, Well, go ahead with your point. Because I'm lost. I don't know history. My impression of Reconstruction was that the carpetbaggers were largely evil. There may have been some white Southerners who were evil too. I don't know. Yeah. But there was like Union soldiers who were occupying and kind of imposing different rules that may not have been fully just. And then there was this, make blacks politicians, and these blacks are illiterate.
But that didn't happen until much later. Because the blacks only had 1/5 of the vote after the Civil War.
Yeah.
So we're getting long out of the 1860s. We're getting into present day stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But my question was if you'd like to join Robert E. Lee in the fight for your state's rights, and I guess your state would be California.
Yeah, the state of California.
Okay.
That's my state.
Your state's rights to have slaves.
I would be for the rights to like abolish minimum wage and abolish the abolition of slavery and stuff like that. I think I would be for that.
Abolish the abolition of slavery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get rid of the abolition. Because are you really free if you can't own slaves? Like, this is a private person. What you do with the slaves is different. What you do with the slaves, you shouldn't be able to just be a murderer or whatever, because they're still human beings. Which I don't think that it was allowed that you could kill your slaves unjustly even back then, right?
Right. You would. Well, I mean, why would you? It's you.
Right.
You spent money on this person.
Yeah.
And you can get in. There are ways to get them into form, and if you really can't, if they really are that much of a problem, if they committed crimes, you have to sentence them.
Right.
You know, if they're murdering, you have to sentence them.
Yeah.
But part of the problem with slave ownership is putting them to work. James, owning a slave is a big responsibility.
I know. I don't personally want one. That's too much.
You have to make sure they're fed
not that I can't even support one. At this point,
you might need to talk
I would
to
probably
Hassan
be the slave.
about raising a dog, and kind of get some pointers there, because a slave is a big responsibility. And
I don't even want a dog. Oh, you said talk to Hassan about raising a dog. Yeah. No, that's...
Yeah, because a slave is a big responsibility,
I would prefer to be free, but I don't want to be either a slave owner or a slave.
Okay, so you don't
But I guess I would be closer to being the slave than I would be to being the owner. I think.
Yeah, well, many of the Confederates deserted for that reason. They felt that they were fighting for somebody else's property.
Right. Yep.
And now, during the surrender, there were still scores of thousands of Confederates in uniform. There was still a means to fight.
Wow.
But the surrender at Appomattox is seen as the end of the war, because the last vestige of hope for an independent nation was in Robert E. Lee.
Okay.
It was in particularly Robert E. Lee. You had to bring Lee to surrender, and then that would be the end of it, and that was the objective. And Grant was really the only person that Lincoln could find that would prosecute the war in a manner that would bring Lee to capture. And because Lee was very tenacious. He was very tenacious. He would do, he was constantly trying to find the offensive, constantly trying to maneuver. When he first took over the army, people were afraid that he was going to take a defensive position that would constantly retreat, because that's what they were used to. The Confederate army just kept retreating and retreating.
Okay.
And once Lee took over, he turned that around, and he kept the momentum going. And a lot of his failures came from pushing momentum into a situation that was disastrous. But even still, he still had scores of thousands of men in uniform ready to fight.
Yeah.
And the reason Appomattox happened was there were correspondences between Grant and Lee. Richmond had already been sieged by the Federals at this point. They had watched the city burn. Lee's army of Northern Virginia had largely been dissolved from all the fighting. There were many holdouts in the city that it was just an absolute disaster. And even today, the final maneuvering at Petersburg, which led to Appomattox, the complexity of the movements and the troops and where they are at any given time in those final days is still kind of a mystery. I mean, a lot of scholars are figuring it out now.
Wow.
When they're comparing, but a lot of scholars focused on the major battles, the major events.
Right.
A lot of and the final maneuvering at Petersburg and leading up to Appomattox is kind of a big question mark on where certain people are. And there are corps commanders at large stretches of campaigning that are just, we don't know where they were. We have no idea what A.P. Hill was doing in a large portion of some of these campaigns. They were often sick, or we just don't know. They just disappear.
That's interesting, man. That's wild to think about.
So, and then Grant was in correspondence with Lee, but the messaging between the armies is so hard to do, and a lot of the correspondences came down to trying to claim the dead over the battlefield. And in this same manner, they would correspond, meeting up for the surrender at Appomattox.
Yeah.
And this is where Lee he gets all dressed up. It's over. He's already discussed with his high command what is expected. His high command in his final meeting with them didn't know what would happen to Lee. They didn't know if he'd be hanged. And Lee said through his correspondences with Grant that he was assured that there would not be a hanging.
Yeah.
And he, Longstreet, as Lee was entering into the courthouse, said, "We are ready to fight, if need be." And Lee is reported to have not said anything to Longstreet at this.
Okay.
And so the idea was, even if things weren't going to go the way that Lee was expecting, they would still fight it out. But the Lee, in discussion with his troops, was basically, if you want to go on bushwhacking, that's your decision. But I've made the decision that it's time to put this to an end, because Lee saw that continuing the fight with a slaveholding republic, going into what modern terms would be guerrilla warfare, in a slaveholding republic, just is not a reality. So he goes, and they go through the terms of surrender with Grant, and the conversation, not much is really known exactly what is said, other than what Grant has said about it, and then maybe some other individuals who overheard what was said, but they kind of made small talk with each other, Grant and Lee. Grant said that he remembered him at West Point when they were students, and Lee said that he didn't remember Grant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I mean, it was probably a very awkward conversation. The whole thing, I'm sure, was very awkward.
That's interesting, man. I think of it as being this dignified thing.
No. Well,
and it was already done. Like, when I'm hearing about it and reading about it, it was already done. So I'm like, they know how it's going to go, but they didn't know how it was going to go.
No, they didn't.
Wow.
And, Lee is basically facing charges here and trying to basically just save as much face as he can. And Grant sees this as I need to just get this whole thing over with, because I got to get back to the president and tell him that the terms have been agreed upon.
Lee had to get back to the president.
Grant had to get back to. Yeah, Grant had to get back to the president, to President Lincoln, because prior to Appomattox, even at Appomattox, surrenders are awkward.
Right.
They're awkward. They're not dressed up. They're not fancy. They're not meant to be. They're usually kind of fumbling, and sometimes you renege on some terms.
Right.
So if I am victorious, I'm a general, and I'm victorious against another army, and I say, yes, you can keep some things here, but you have to relinquish these other things. And then I go back to the president, and the president says, no, you can't offer those things. You have to tell them that they have to surrender these other things too.
Right.
Right. That stuff happens.
Yep.
So it is a very awkward and strained scenario. But Lee's army, the attrition rate in Lee's army was the worst in any army in the Civil War. If you went into Lee's army, there was a good chance you were going to die.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like Russia versus Ukraine. Like, they're losing people like crazy. I heard both of them are.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too savvy on that.
Yeah.
But I know that Grant is often cited as the butcher. Oh, he's the one that led all these terrible frontal assaults, and it's not necessarily true. And there were many times, even late in the war, where Grant was in a very precarious position as he's marching into his position. And there are times when he marches through choke points, and Lee all of his corps commanders are out for some reason. They're either sick or they're wounded, and he's the only person who can lead an attack. And now he's sick, and he can't muster the energy to lead an attack on Grant, which would be devastating for him. And he absolutely rails at this opportunity. And there are many instances like that throughout the final days of the war that could turn everything into the favor of an independent Confederacy.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen. But a lot of this stuff gets lost because there's this narrative that the Confederacy never had a chance. That's not true.
Yeah.
It's simply not true.
It could have gone either way. I remember you telling me that in another call.
Yes, and people have this idea that, the North had all these
industrialization and stuff, right?
Exactly. They had all these industrial advantages. The North had a lot of tracts of land that they had to maneuver through. They had a population that wasn't exactly all too willing to be soldiers,
right?
And they had unwilling subordinates. They were dealing with a lot of unwilling subordinates.
Wow.
The morale in the Confederacy was usually higher than the North. Even in the lowest points of the war, the South just mustered more morale to continue fighting. It really was not an in the bag thing for the North by any stretch of the imagination. And the loss of, if you lose, you essentially lose everything. It's not just, the Confederacy has their independence now. Now you basically have no international
recognition, huh?
Recognition.
Yeah. You look like a weak loser.
Exactly.
And then people will attack when you're down.
Exactly. And there were times throughout the war where Britain, in the Trent Affair, was marching soldiers onto the border of the Union in Canada. And so now you had England, and this was during the war. So now you had England that was ready and willing to attack the United States during its fight with the Confederacy.
That's like a lesson not to get into a war in the first place, because anything can happen. It's like, don't go to court. Don't go to court, or he may take more than just your tunic. He'll take your whole he'll throw you in prison, where it's settle things as peacefully and like a gentleman as quickly as you can with people. Yeah. Wow, that's wild, man.
It's very real. It's almost impossible to imagine the United States winning its independence without the help of France. If France wasn't there for the United States, it would have gone a different way.
I've heard that.
That's the same thing with the Civil War. If anybody else got involved with it, it could have gone a totally different way.
Yeah.
And to this day, people are still contesting about what happened. Who's worthy of winning and who isn't. To this day, and it's all because there were still people ready and willing to fight. There were still ardent Confederates.
Yeah.
And the beginning of the war and the end of the war, it's often contested, what is exactly the beginning of the war. And then people say, what's the final shot of the war? Things like that. But it's generally accepted that the beginning of the war is when Lincoln calls for volunteers. When Lincoln calls for volunteers after the bombing of Fort Sumter by the Confederates, that's when the war starts, when there's a call for volunteers. And then the war ends at Appomattox.
Yeah.
And even though there's still...
There was still some killing going on even after that, though, huh?
Exactly.
Wow.
But it was very...
Everybody didn't have iPhones or Androids.
Exactly. Exactly.
Man.
And in Lee's army, you had various states. And you had the North Carolinians were all in Longstreet's corps. You had the Texas Brigade, Hood's Brigade, the famous Texans that were feared. They were in the Army of Northern Virginia. They were in Gettysburg, and they were one of the ones in Pickett's Charge. John Bell Hood is the famous fighting Texan, promoted to division commander. At the end of the war, he was a striking, handsome man, blonde hair, blue eyes, 6'2".
Wow!
At the end of the war, an absolutely broken man, absolutely broken. He was wounded in the leg and wounded in the arm, and what the last things said about him in the war was that he was seen sobbing in his tent.
Wow.
Just a totally broken man.
Man. Wow, I appreciate the history lesson. Daniel in Texas?
Okay, I'll let you go.
All right. Merry Christmas, man.
You too. Bye.
Bye. This has been the Hake Report, guys. I gotta end. It is true. It is over. We got to catch American Anchor maybe at noon Pacific time today. Joel Friday TV was 2 days ago. Church with Jesse Lee Peterson Sunday. Women's Forum next week, I think. Enjoy another Christmas song, sort of a hipster Christmas song. This is from The Evaluation from All I Want for Christmas compilation 2004 Lujo Records. Full beards, angel wings, car doors, and department stores. Adios, America. Catch you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye.
West, far west on 2nd Street, we made department store deliveries before dawn.
Hey.
Just before dawn, they lived on too many diet dinners and cigarettes they laid for far too long.
Kind of nice,
They
huh?
lived for far too long.
There's the jingle bells. Mildly Christmassy. Bye, Karen Williams. Thanks, Baldman54.
We've lived on long days and late nights. We live for far too long. If I can't tell you what I want, I'll tell you what you don't know. And if you don't know, you can't know what I know. The truth you don't know. And the sweet tea and summer nights. Whispers and sail winds. Sail true through the endless night. Wake up soon, but don't wake up tonight. We'll see you through. We'll see you through this long late night. We'll see you through. We'll see you through this long late night. We'll see you through. We'll see you through this long late night. We'll see you through soon. We'll see you through this long late night. We'll see you through soon. We'll see you through this long late night. We'll see you
Adios, America.